Yes. Welcome, everyone. It is noon. It is Eastern time. Of course, means we're live with the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, a lot of stuff to get to today, a lot of hemp information, a lot of great entertainment, all the stuff you've come to expect from the show. If you want to watch live, of course, you can do so in many ways. The Temptations Beach Facebook page, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter. The podcast version,
Vroom, vroom.
That's weird. All of those places. Just search the Hide and Hemp Show and you can find the podcast. I am Senator Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. How are things this Valentine's Day week in the world of Temptations, Beach?
Pretty loving. It's like a super nice day out. Like almost 70 or get over 70, I heard here in the middle of February in Cincinnati. So, you gotta.
Saturday morning it's supposed to be like 22, so.
You definitely got to love that. I know. It's like we've had these 30 to 40 degree, like at night, I feel like we're like living in the desert where it's super cold at night and then it gets like super nice during the day. But, I was just commenting on how much I love the fact that Cincinnati's weather changes so much, to be honest with you. I love it. I have always said that I don't really want to live anywhere where it's always the same. I mean, that's just not for me. And so I feel like this day and age, there aren't too many places you can live where the weather can be so different from day to day than good old Cincinnati, Ohio. The high state area is like crazy with weather eclectically. It's very eclectic weather we have. I don't know. Anyway. Remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated the High Noon Hemp Show for safety or efficacy. And, of course, more on the FDA later in the show. It's getting bad. But anyway, thanks, everybody. It's true. I am Beach. This is the High Noon Hemp Show. And I sit high above the Sharonville location in Planet Everywhere Studios. And I do the YouTube video. I watch that. So if you watch on YouTube, you can interact with me on YouTube as well. Thanks everybody watching live. Thanks everybody watching later. Well, apparently, I think this happened last year too. Apparently, February 4th was National Hemp Day.
Oh,
I had no idea. I did not get a memo or an email or anything. But I did come across an article that said National Hemp Day, February. It was like coming soon. Again, so it was obviously before, but in celebration of National Hemp Day on February 4th. And it was all on like textiles and the fiber and whatnot. I did save a picture that I'll talk about in the news more, and so. There you guys. I'm gonna have to put that on the calendar just to see if next year. And I don't think it showed up on my calendar. I usually get those holidays, on my calendar, wacky holidays like that. So somebody needs to submit that officially, I think. And I don't know why February 4th would be Hemp Day. In all honesty, I have no idea what the significance of that is. And so I will say next year, if it's always on February 4th or 5th, 4th, then that's 2/4. So next year, National Hemp Day would be 2424.
Wow.
Which is very close to my heart because 24 is my favorite numbers. That was my number in high school on the basketball team, number 24. And so
they came up with it. That's how they came up with February 4th. They said, well, Beach was 24, so 24. That's it.
I mean, I will have to say 24, all in all, if I was to pick, all in all, 24 is my favorite number of all time. And then ironically, 42 then reversed 24 to get 42 because 42 is the answer to everything. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's enough about numbers. Let's get on about some hemp. Let's talk about some hemp. And get on with this beautiful day. let's get started with the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door. Sometimes I do a little more, but I haven't done that in a while. This first pick is actually 2 separate products. So this first pick counts as number 1 and number 2. But on top there, you have, and these are hemp composite for pre-rolls or rolls, more or less. You're rolled. You can call it a joint if you want to. If you want to throw a joint in there of your, favorite cannabis flower. But the top ones are from Sana packaging, SANA packaging, and then all the different color variations are from Greenco. And so Sana's, I believe, here in the States. Greenco's over in Europe. But Sana, I think they're really doing a good job of getting their products into the industry as, earth-friendly containers for, stores to sell their pre-rolls and whatnot. And so, maybe someday we'll sell some pre-roll CBD pre-rolls or something, and put them in there. So either way, there you have. That's 1 and 2. Number 3, we just got a fresh batch of Homestead caramels or caramels, depending on how you want to pronounce it or even spell it. But these are super popular. Caramels seem to be the super popular form anyway. And again, each one, I believe, has 20 milligrams of CBD, which is, that's a decent little dose, one way or another. It's a good snack before bed, even, probably, for a lot of people. Just one, which, again, would be very difficult. Be very difficult to eat just one. That's one of those things where I would recommend having non-CBD caramels around so you could at least have a couple more to make you feel like you're getting enough. The good thing about caramel, though, is it does take a while to usually chew it up. And then once again, you're releasing that CBD sublingually. And then you're also getting it to go down in through the gut and work its way through there. And so that's why caramels are also good, just like gummies. Sorry about that. I got to remember to keep forgetting to sometimes to turn my units off. I need to go quiet, and I don't. I can figure out how to do what I really want to do. And the third or the fourth product in the product spotlight this week are these THCP, JG THCP carts. THCP is starting to gain a little bit of popularity, and they're really Delta 8. So it's mostly Delta 8, and then a little percentage of THCP as well. And so again, the THCP is gaining some popularity. It's one of the newer ones to hit the shelves, but people are really, really digging the products with it in it so far anyway. So, all right, there's 4 from the store. Now the one from my door is, how about a handmade leash? This is Josie. For all of you who don't know, Josie comes to work with me most of the time. But you can see the handmade leash, and of course her collar is a hemp collar as well. So that's kind of a twofer. But I don't know if I've ever shown her this particular leash, which I've been using more recently, especially since he's been actually going to work with me in the Dayton store a couple days a week. So when I take her out, you can really tell that's a hemp leash representing. So there you have it, folks. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, 2. And it's really Josie's door, I guess.
That's right.
And now,
another Josie cameo. Of course, that brings us to the greatest segment. No word yet on whether or not this won any kind of special award for City Beat for the greatest internet segment of all time. But I wait with bated breath to find out. This is, of course, the Beachwear segment. You want to see what Beach wears in his hemp ensemble on a warm day in Cincinnati? We're about to show you, because all I have to do is ask Beach one simple question. That kicks off the whole thing when I say, "What are you wearing, Beach?"
That's right. What are you wearing, Beach? Well, today it is blue because it is a Kentucky basketball day. It's not really Kentucky blue, so to speak, as much, but we do play tonight. And as you know, when Kentucky plays, I tend to wear blue.
Mm-hmm.
But on top there is actually my 100% hemp Kentucky hat made by Headcase, or is on a Headcase hat designed in Kentucky for sure. And then my shirt. This is one the company I don't wear a whole lot, but Island Hempwear, which is still out there. You can go to Island Hempwear's site, and I don't know if they have these shirts up there anymore. Probably, maybe not. But it's good to see. I'm pretty sure that last time I checked, Island Hempwear was still had inventory to sell on their website. Nice, good, very quality, thick stuff when it came to the Island Hempwear. I have some of what you would call like board shorts by them that look, I wear them quite a bit. They look brand new. Anyway, and then underneath that, we've got another Headcase tee there with I call that the Hemp Sun logo, kind of. Again, the probably at least 20-year-old Headcase t-shirt. My pants are Orvis. Orvis is a big brand nationally, and so it's good to see them making hemp stuff, durable stuff, no doubt about it. You can see in my pocket there, my Green Springs Technology pen travels everywhere with me. If I have a pocket to put it in, it goes with me. Wearing some I Love Bad briefs there, and then those are Kind Hemp socks, and a pair of this is a rare form of Adidas. Adidas makes a lot of hemp shoes, but apparently we're having technical issues. I don't know. There must be mic issues or something. Someone's saying. I don't know if we're clicking in and out. Can you hear me, folks? What's going on?
Everything sounds good on my end.
Mic issues or something?
Sure.
Someone's saying. It's coming through on the YouTube, I guess. Okay, so I'm not sure what the technical issues are. Those are probably just me. No, I don't know.
Everything sounds good.
Yeah, again, on YouTube, it seems the volume isn't clicking in and out. So I'm not sure if it's the Facebook feed where everybody's watching and we're having issues or not. But I do appreciate everybody letting me know, and hopefully it does get itself worked out one way or another. We can only hope. Dang it. She said it's all good again. So I guess we were having some issues here. But thank you guys for letting us know. Anyway, those Adidas Dakotas, kind of a more rare line in the Adidas as it is. So there you have it, folks. If you're wondering, what are you wearing, Beach, from head to toe like I do every day? Now you know, here on the High Noon Hemp Show. So let me turn my volume down here, maybe. All right, let's get to the news. I feel like I'm rushing. Josie has a doctor's appointment after the show, and I feel like, and I don't have to rush. I'm going to take a deep hemp breath here. And we get on with the news. So apparently now the FDA is just flat out punting, as I saw someone say, but they are going to defer to Congress because they're saying that CBD is not safe enough for them to say it's okay to put in food and drinks. So again, I don't know what they're basing this on or not on, one way or another. And so now I believe, which is troubling, I suppose, in one sense, because what Congress does with this is interesting. Now, Congress wants the FDA. My understanding is Congress wants and is putting the pressure on the FDA to get CBD approved. And so, what Congress can do, to pass a law, I guess, saying that it's okay to put, I don't know, CBD in food and drink to force the FDA. I don't think you could. I don't think you could. They could do that. Honestly, I'm not sure. And so this is going to be interesting to see how this all turns out, one way or another. And again, I couldn't implore anyone more, and they should have started yesterday, so to speak. I guess we need some safety studies. I don't know how to do that. Again, the only safety concern that we have seen so far was liver. Okay, now, and that was to get the seizure medicine, the children's to child seizure medicine approved, which the FDA did, which was CBD based. Supposedly, or I don't know, supposedly, there's somewhere in that's when they were getting that ready to be approved, they said that it's possible that CBD could have ill effects on the liver. Now, I don't know if that was what the quantity was. They don't really say much more. The drug was still approved, just so everybody knows. And so I don't understand how it could be, a life-threatening situation. But it's kind of bewildering there. So that's the latest. Is the FDA announced last week that they are not going to now make a judgment on CBD, and so we're still in limbo, I suppose, when it comes to the FDA. And I don't think that really changes anything, because other than we're just not going to see CBD in big companies investing in it to put in their food and drinks. Not yet. That will take an FDA approval, I'm pretty sure, before that's going to happen. So we still keep our small scale, kind of protects all the small scaler products, I guess. I don't know. And so we just move on. I hope everybody can hear me. I feel like I can't without my headphones. And sometimes I don't know if I'm actually coming across from with it. So anyway, that being said, Twitter is now going to allow all CBD to be advertised, as well as THC, in my understanding. I'm not sure how that'll work, but apparently right now Twitter only approves topicals when it comes to CBD. So if you have a CBD topical, you can advertise for that on Twitter. But now they're going to allow all CBD products and other cannabis products, from my understanding. We'll see how that all works out. But apparently Elon Musk, since he's now the second richest man on the planet, realizes he's going to, he'll take money from anything. And again, I think the CBD ban on advertising anywhere is 100% ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's 100% ridiculous, honestly. I mean, even my TV people and all that, they gave up on worrying about that like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's still an issue to Facebook for some reason, which is just ridiculous. Again, it's still under their drug policy, and which is just complete ignorant. It just really, that's all there is there. And it's laziness on their part too, because they don't want to have to differentiate, I suppose, from this form of cannabis to another, which is just lazy. But it does keep us from seeing 700 CBD ads when we're looking at our Facebook page. I'll tell you that, because I'm sure they would be out there if we did.
Yeah.
No matter what on that, I can tell you. So anyway, good for Twitter. Good for Twitter. Here's a study that showed CBD blocks the ability of lysophosphatidylinoaceto, whatever that may or may not be, better known as LPL, I believe, to amplify neural signals in the hippocampus. Now, what that means is LPL weakens the signal that counters seizures, further explaining the value of CBD to treat epilepsy. And so this basically, they're getting, again, one good thing is we're definitely seeing lots of studies as to whether it can or can't do what we believe it can or can't do. but again, not safety, obviously, but this is an epilepsy study, and this is breaking it down as to why CBD is successful in epilepsy and other seizure-related illnesses. So there we have it. That's science. That's what we like to see. Again, I suppose every study to prove something like this should also somehow do some type of. I don't know how the safety studies will work, but we need them apparently. Here's what's interesting, because there's this I don't know, maybe a misconception that CBD counteracts the effects of Delta 9, THC Delta 9, the big one, so to speak. Now we're seeing that that's not necessarily true. And this study, and again, this is kind of interesting, because this study was the participants were given 20 milligrams of Delta 9 and 650 milligrams of CBD. Okay. So that was the dose. Now, right now, they say they recommend a 1-to-1 ratio for best results. Okay. And so, this is one of those studies where I'm not sure what to make of it, but 650 milligrams of CBD is a lot of CBD. I mean, that's a huge amount. I can't imagine anybody, honestly, ever needing that amount. So, I'm not sure, if the studies are saying, well, yeah, if THC can make you drowsy, and then you put 650 milligrams of CBD on top of it, then it's going to make you extra drowsy. I don't doubt that science for 1 minute either. Now, who in the world would take 20 milligrams of Delta 9 and 650 milligrams of CBD at the same time? Probably isn't worried about whether it intensifies or not the side effects of Delta 9, because they're dealing with much bigger issues if you're going to take that amount of stuff. But we are starting to see some of these studies, that are in fact kind of refuting the idea that CBD counteracts the side effects of Delta 9. Not that you might not still get the effects that you want or the results that you want, whether you're using Delta 9 for pain relief, or, we don't use Delta 9 for anxiety like we do CBD. So that's kind of a mood issue. Maybe it just, the CBD helps. Obviously, I would think, and this is just me, and it's good to see science on this, that because paranoia is a natural side effect of Delta 9, that maybe the CBD might counteract that in a way. I don't know. I don't know if it would help with the fact that Delta 9 use does cause short-term memory loss. But, I think we're definitely going to be seeing more and more how do CBD, and this was in edibles, and so we are going to start seeing more and more how does CBD and Delta 9 work, how does Delta 8 and Delta 9, and all these things kind of because when you use it normally, even Delta 9 flower has a little bit of CBD in it. And it has all those things, what they call that full spectrum of stuff with the terpenes and all those. And so I think, once again, we're going to find that we can isolate this stuff and use it for certain things. But there are some times where we want all of it to be together. And the only way to do that is in the flower, because it has an unbelievable amount, over 500-600 different isolates and terpenes and cannabinoids and cannabinols and all these things that make it up. That's why you can't replicate it synthetically. It's like chocolate, in my opinion. There's too many things that make up what cannabis is to synthetically replicate it, and we should continue to use nature as nature intended, one way or another. So, you know, but it's interesting because, again, through breeding, we can do just about anything. Raise the THC, lower the THC, bring the CBG up, CBN. Some of those other things are very minute isolates and whatnot, and so it's you can't get enough out of the flower, and that's where we're seeing the extracts and those products come. So, but we need CBD safety studies. I'm going to say it like 100 times. Not how CBD interacts with THC. No, we need all of it. But yay, Adidas is finally dropping a new shoe. And this is a Samba. And again, I probably have more hemp Adidas Sambas than any other style. They're collaborating with Sean Wotherspoon, and I'm not really sure who that is. This is definitely a very unique. It almost looks like it was like stitched, kind of the way the fabric pattern is, and so this is the first Samba in this color pattern, for sure. I haven't seen orange, which I really like. There on the back, the Bengals are having so much success that orange is going to be a cool color for shoes. But clearly with the little hemp tag, this article mentioned something about this was the first hemp Samba or something, which is clearly not true. I probably have 15 pairs of at least 10 to 15 pairs of hemp Sambas. So this is just the newest color style, I believe, of the Adidas Samba. So hopefully those will be available everywhere you can buy Adidas, at least online anyway, one way or another. So how about powered by plants? I shot a picture of these guys over. This is another non-alcoholic beverage. Now these are actually infused with CBD, and it says CBD resin of the whole hemp plant. So, which scares me because that's where the CBD was coming from when we were getting it from China. I believe was a whole plant pressing somehow, and then they got the CBD out of that. And I don't, I'm not sure how it all, went down originally. But and again, these are just non-mock cocktails, no alcohol, with some CBD in them. So, but the resin from the whole hemp plant is kind of interesting, and I'm curious, where they get that, and is that really just when they say whole hemp plant, is that really just the resin from the flower of a high CBD plant? But there you have it. Non-alcoholic beverages infused with CBD. And again, non-alcoholic beverages and hemp are really coming on strong one way or another, whether it's CBD or hemp seed oil. But I can't believe there aren't really more beers, but that just baffles me. Well, here comes the DEA again, basically lying, as they like to do about industrial hemp, because they say that THCO and Delta 8, again, and they've already pulled this Delta 8. They pulled this Delta 8 thing like 2 years ago. Okay. They say THCO is not hemp and is not legal. Okay. Which is not true. If it came from hemp, it's 100% legal. But they're trying to come back again and say that D8, Delta 8, and THCO are controlled substances. They are not, unless they came from a cannabis plant that had more than 0.4% THC. Okay. No matter what the DEA says, and again, they are not the lawmakers. Okay. They can go and they can try, and I sure can't wait till the DEA tries to raid some big D8 warehouse, goes after 3Chi, whatever you want to pronounce it, 3Chi. It was probably the largest marketed D8 out there. And once again are proven wrong that this came from industrial hemp and clearly under the Farm Bill. So, the DEA is not the lawmakers. Okay. And when they come out and say things like this, and again, it's not necessarily, I don't know how they can actually say THCO is not hemp, because if I have THCO products that came from industrial hemp, that's hemp. Yep. Again, pure and simple. What's really funny is we have THC Delta 9 coming from hemp, and it's 100% legal because it was extracted from hemp. And we have a legal amount of Delta 9, 0.3%, clearly in the Farm Bill law. The biggest definition of hemp ever out there, and that 0.3% that clearly defines, that's the biggest key to defining the difference between cannabis for marijuana, as they like to call it, or cannabis for hemp, that 0.3%. And we can have that up to 0.3%, 100% legal. And again, whatever they make out of that cannabis, that hemp, no matter what, once it's grown, it's off the controlled substance list. In fact, if it's defined as industrial hemp, passes all their licensing tests at the end of the year, it's tested and it's 0.3% or less. Well, guess what? That's 0.3% THC. That's 100% legal. Delta 9, 100% legal. Anything made from that plant, 100% legal. Clearly defined. So, the DEA needs to shut their mouth when it comes to anything hemp. Again, you can't. They're lying when they say THCO is not hemp. If it came from hemp, it is hemp. And again, going back to their D8 argument, which happened like 2 years ago, and they immediately got checked, and they stopped talking to the DEA stopped talking about Delta 8 almost immediately 2 years ago because they got checked. So, and it all really goes back to the source law, which is even older than the Farm Bill. That dates back to the HIA suing the DEA, and which basically when they won, the Hemp Industry Association won that basically created what was called the source law. Once again, if the source was industrial hemp, 100% legal. If the source was what they call marijuana, not legal. And that still basically holds true today, as well as clearly defined in the last Farm Bill that took hemp off the controlled substance list. So anyway, the DEA, they're really hurting. They're really hurting. And I'm not sad for them. They need to cut their budget. They need to get real. And then, and again, I really just wish, and this is the DEA is one of the major reasons why we don't have federal laws against cannabis or legalizing cannabis for marijuana, so to speak. And the DEA's got their, they're still trying to hold on to their billions of dollars of budget that is wasted on cannabis. And I don't know what they're doing these days, but other than popping their head up and lying about hemp every once in a while. But anyway. So a company, Top Carbon Capture in Arizona, then I've been preaching this and I love it. They're going to be using discarded hemp from a fiber company. So once again, they're taking that herd, that shiv, that hard part that we make the hempcrete out of. This is a byproduct to the fiber company. once they get the fiber out of the middle of the plant, so to speak. And now this company is going to make hemp blocks out of it. And they say they can make, let's see what it's, 1,500 blocks in 12 hours or so is what they're going to produce. And I don't know how big they are, small they are, or whatnot. But, once again, it's all usable. No matter what you're growing your hemp for, that entire plant is usable for something. And so this is awesome to see these hempcrete blocks getting made out of essentially what is waste to the fiber company, and instead of being just disposed of wherever, landfill or who knows, what they would have done with it. We can build some houses out of it. How about that?
Yeah.
Love it. Good job. 1,800 blocks in 12 hours. I'm sorry. Top carbon capture out in Arizona. Awesome. I was talking about the earlier about the National Hemp Day, and that was an article about the fiber. Here is a picture of some Japanese hemp fiber dating back to the 1800s. And again, this is like a museum exhibit somewhere. But I thought that was pretty interesting. The Japanese have a love of hemp. There's no doubt about it. What I like about this is you can clearly see how these are, two different types of weaves. One kind of looks more canvasy as a weave. The other one looks kind of more linen-y or whatnot. And so, again, hemp can be woven as smooth as silk or as rough as burlap. So, this is just more proof. And again, that fiber. Oh, well, again, I believe in the right conditions, that fiber would last forever. We found fiber remnants on 10,000-year-old pottery that had, been in nature for the 10,000 years, so to speak, and was still together somewhat. And again, hemp is the strongest natural fiber on the planet. So, cool stuff with some 1800s Japanese fiber going way back. Let's say way back. And I did see an article, bookbinding, the history of bookbinding. And again, hemp was listed as one of the first binding agents, even if they were using, say, before actually hemp paper came into existence. So they were just using like a parchment or a leaf or something. I think then they would still, bamboo leaf I saw was or something like that was mentioned, but then they were using hemp fiber to bind that together as far as making pages. And so, that's the history and paper and books and all, and hemp have an unbelievable, about 2,000-year-old history that is quite incredible. Raw Papers, biggest hemp paper company in the world. I'm sure they got a little bit of trouble, and this is all over their organic line. Now, and I think the issue is okay. There was no pesticides or herbicides used on the hemp to be grown, so they call it organic. But, and I've mentioned this before on the show, organic is a soil rating, so they had to grow that hemp in organic, registered, tested organic soil before they could actually label their organic products as organic. What we'll probably see is they relabel them as maybe natural, because then you don't have to have that organic soil. Natural is 70% good stuff, and then I don't know, the other 30% can be whatever. I think by natural, by definition, to call your product a food product or a product natural. And so that's by definition USDA organic, no. But realistically, um, if they didn't have to use herbicides or pesticides on it, then it was, and again, the next thing they may do is say, call it chemical free,
Yeah.
Something like that. They just you can't use organic on something in the United States unless that something was grown in organic soil. That is one of the definitions. So anyway, and they also, and I guess so. Apparently they were donating money. They had some charitable group that they were donating money to that didn't exist, and so that's a big no.
Yeah.
That there is no excuse for that. I can rationalize with the use of the word organic. But then I also did see something else, which is obviously kind of shady, is where they were saying that some of their products, some of the hemp was grown in Spain, in Alcoy, Spain, specifically, and that wasn't true either. But that wasn't all their products. It was just a small line of their products that were supposedly grown there. And so, I don't know why you lie about something like that. Who cares? People love their papers. We sell more raw than anything else. There's still some old schoolers that hold on to their old school papers, but for the most part, everybody uses raw and loves them. They don't use them because it's there's plenty of other papers to pick from. They use them because they're usually thin but strong because it's hemp. And it's a good paper. They just need to not have to worry about all this labeling stuff and just throw it out on the shelf and let people continue to buy it. Stop lying about it. If you're not really giving to the charitable donations, bring the cost down a little bit and don't take that money, whatever. Because that's pretty, that I don't like. Looks like Zimbabwe is going to do the logical thing. They're going to increase in Africa. There's, been a huge surge in hemp popularity in Africa, all over Africa. This is just more proof that, obviously in Zimbabwe, there is enough popularity, and they understand that 0.3% is, something we came up with. I don't know who came up with it, because that's what we would always preach years ago. Before it was legal, we'd always say this 0.3% is what we should shoot for. And I don't know, and this started a long time ago, 30 years ago. I've been talking about 0.3% for 30 years. It's this number that, we're not even sure where to trace it back to, is like the number. Other than maybe at some point or another, the European and Russian hemp and all those hemps maybe they were tested. And that's what the average one maybe were tested for less than that. And so that's why we say that's what should be legal anyway. That's the rules in the United States. Zimbabwe, and we've been talking about this. This is what we need to do. We'd love to see this in the next farm bill. Raise that Delta 9 level to 1%. And so again, I don't think it's going to happen in this farm bill. I feel like there's too much controversy out of all the other things that we're getting out of industrial hemp right now for them to even really change much about the industrial hemp in the farm bill. Honestly, I think they should really just stay status quo, because I think it's just fine how it stands. So, and I haven't heard any talk. We want them to do that, but I haven't heard any talk they're going to do that. There's some other things like the mandatory, and I think they'll hopefully take this out because they put it off again, the mandatory testing in DEA facilities, which they've never been able to do. And they put it off every year. They say, nope, it's not a requirement anymore. When you grow your industrial hemp, because you have to have it, you're supposed to have it tested for that 0.3%. And I think they're going to take that clause out that it has to go to a DEA facility for that, because it should not have to, and there aren't enough to keep up with the growing anyway. And again, the DEA should have nothing to do with industrial hemp. It's not on the controlled substance list anymore. If it has to be tested for that 0.3%, then that's fine. But anybody can do that. Anybody, any lab
Yeah.
that's qualified in testing cannabis for anything can test for CBD content. And again, there's more and more of those popping up because of the need to have those things tested. So anyway, North Carolina, they were having, they were 6 months ago coming to a deadline that would have made hemp illegal, and of course they worked it out. But it looks like their growing has really switched to fiber. So last year they grew 1,500 acres for fiber and only 77 acres for CBD. And of course, that CBD market last year, I'm sure it was a lot lower than it was the year before, which was probably a lot lower than it was the year before that, which was probably the year where there was a crazy amount of, 2019, 2020, there was just an unbelievable amount of CBD grown. I think last year was the first year, or 2021 actually was the first year where we kind of started to see the decline. And then 2022, we really saw a sharp decline in the amount of CBD getting grown. And this is exactly how I saw things going, and I was hoping things were going. But as that CBD market kind of works its way out, now we're going to see that rise in fiber market and that rise in grain market. And obviously in North Carolina, that's the way it's working out. Now I want to go down. I want to check out some of the fiber fields. Check out some of the. I'd really like to see it and see how tall they're getting it. What kind of growth are they getting out of it? Height wise, we were always under the impression that the more north you go, the taller you actually get out of the plant. So being able to grow hemp productively in the South for fiber is huge, would be huge. And of course we can do it. I know we can do it. It'll grow. But the quality of the fiber, it's hard to say, when it gets its proper moisture throughout the season, that fiber is super awesome. Just like any plant, if it goes through a drought, then that fiber might not be as strong. It might not be as good. Then if it doesn't grow as tall, then you have, shorter fiber that's not as strong as the taller fiber. That's just the way this particular fiber works out, because the fiber runs from the bottom of the plant to the top of the plant, more or less. And so that's why we're saying these, this 20-foot hemp plants, the 24-foot record breaker that just happened the last year ago. Hemp traders, and those guys are, that's what they're working on, because they understand the superiority of that fiber, even compared to, say, a 10-foot piece of hemp. You conceivably double the strength because it only has to be woven together every 20 feet. And that, that keeps that strength in between there too. So, that'll be the future of industrial hemp. 5 years from now, man, you want to talk about a hemp maze? You'll be walking through a hemp field. How foreboding would that be? A maze of only plants that are only 10 to 12 feet tall. That's not as foreboding, right there's the top, but 20 feet tall. I mean, that's getting up there. And so, that's the future of the fiber. That's the only future we need to work on. And again, I hope it's not more than less that it's some genetically engineered hemp. We just need to, just like these guys, breed the right hemp and grow the right hemp, and just keep getting it taller, little by little, if we can. So, CBD was Googled more than acupuncture, meditation, and exercise last year. And so CBD is still very popular. Again, there's, I don't think we're seeing as much because I think, again, more people are going online. And so as soon as you Google it, you're going to get 5 ads from somebody selling it, because I'm pretty sure Google allows. I don't know if they particularly allow CBD, but I know that there are plenty of companies that have figured it out. And so, that being said, the interest and education for CBD is, wanting to be educated or, looking into it is obviously still very popular when it comes to, health issues. Acupuncture, meditation, and exercise are all things people will be searching for, I believe, for health reasons. So CBD is still up there, of course, and it's still super popular in the world, again, because it does what most people want it to do. And if it doesn't, then people move on. But for the most part, it does. I sold 4 jars of happiness cream to one lady the other day because we ran out. It was the same situation before. This happened before when this lady was buying 2 jars because we had run out, and she was afraid. This lady bought 4 jars because we had run out, and she was afraid we were going to run out again. But the jar lasts her a whole month.
Yeah.
A decent amount of time. And so, it does what she wanted it to do, obviously, and it's still successful in their life. So, enjoy that. I don't know what that means. One way or another. Not a whole lot of events. Again, February 25th and the 26th, you've got the Atlanta Hemp World Festival down at the Westside Cultural Arts Center. End of March 29th through the 31st. Again, NOCO, biggest hemp expo out there, is at the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado Springs. So start making it's good time right now. Start making your plans for that. But that's a huge event. And then that's really about it for the spring. I didn't really see too much out there that check your local event guide, which really means just put hemp in your Google and then hit events, or put hemp events, which is sometimes what I do, hemp events, and see what hemp events are around you. You never know. There might be something going on you may want to participate in. Thank you for participating in the High Noon Hemp Show hemp event every Wednesday at high noon. Whether you're watching live or taped, so to speak, not live, we sure do appreciate it. Remember, folks, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you next week.
Peace.